he said, Jimmy, I'm sorry. He says, the old man won't let me trade with you guys. And so I was stuck, because the time had run out. So I ended up picking Alvin Harper, who ended up helping us win a Super Bowl or two. But that's not what I wanted in that particular pick. I wanted to move down and maybe take Harper at a later pick.
So you had went fishing with Matt Rule, and I said this. I really don't think Sam Darnold's been given a fair shake. Now, some of Sam's issues, he can be reckless. He was at USC. He was at New York. But you went on a fishing trip, and you get to know a guy when you fish with him or you golf with him or you have beers with him. What was your takeaway on what Sam Darnold now is inheriting?
Well, first of all, I did 2 of the 3. I didn't play golf with him. But yeah, I was extremely impressed with Matt Rule. Very intelligent. He asked the right questions. Again, I was very, very impressed. As far as Sam Darnold, I think with Matt Rule, I think with an outstanding offensive supporting cast, I think with Brady as his offensive coordinator, I'm going to be interested to see what Sam Darnold can do, because I know a lot of people, when Darnold came out, a lot of them said he may be the best quarterback in that particular draft. So it does a couple of things for Carolina. It allows them now, if they want to take a quarterback, they can do it, because I guess they're going to trade Bridgewater, or they can take another player to add to their football team. Darnold gives them a little bit of a bonus there, and I'm expecting him to play well for him. I'm still a fan of Darnold.
It's funny. There was always a rule with quarterbacks. Parcells said this years ago, I want like 30 starts. I don't want 1 year. Now, Mac Jones, 1 year. Trey Lance, not many starts. Could I say, though, Jimmy, that used to be a rule, but the kids now get so many snaps in all these camps that 1 year, it doesn't really matter. A guy can play or he can't.
Hey, I agree with you, Colin. He can play or he can't play. Burrow, how much did he play? And he's as good a prospect that has come out of college in a long time. So they're getting such great coaching. The style of offense really allows them to showcase their abilities. And so it doesn't bother me if he hasn't been a superstar, ever since he was in high school. At a different position, maybe so. Emmitt Smith was a superstar in high school. I tried to recruit him. He was a superstar in college. And his performance, even though he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the biggest, his performance was such that we knew he was going to be a great player.
Yeah. By the way, in the draft stuff, as you accumulate all this stuff, I had a GM tell me years ago he liked drafting out of the SEC because he said they play in front of 100,000. It's a bunch of NFL guys. If a guy can be great on Saturday night in that conference, it's different than the Pac-12. Do you believe that big game performers in college matter?
Yeah, I think you can evaluate better, from the Power Five, the big conferences. But Matt Rule actually asked me that question. He said, does it bother you taking a player from a small school? And I said, the only thing that I look at and I try to evaluate, taking a player from a small school that's not as competitive as maybe the Southeastern Conference or a Power Five team, is their upside is probably larger, because they're probably not getting quite the coaching. For instance, you look at Alabama, Patrick Surtain right now, who I coached his father, drafted him. He is as well coached by his dad and in high school and in college as any cornerback in the entire country. And so, he's a great player right now, but, don't expect him to skyrocket from this performance, because he's been well coached all his life.
That's a great point. Jimmy Johnson, the Hall of Famer, absolute pleasure. You look great. You look comfortable. Did you catch any fish when you went out? Did you catch anything?
We got into some mahi-mahi, some schoolies. In fact, Matt's son, Bryant, he caught him a couple of schoolies. So we had a good time, and then we came back to the house. It was fun.
Good for you.
And actually, everybody's getting vaccinated now, so they want to get out of the house and travel with all that big group I had last week.
Yeah.
They're about to wear me out.
Get some rest, Jimmy. Good seeing you.
All right, Colin.
Yeah, but that, by the way, that's a great point. That he just made a great point. Patrick Surtain's dad was a great coach. Nick Saban's a great coach. So if you draft the corner from Alabama, what you see is what you get. Great player. But didn't have a ton. This was what we talked about Nick Saban last year. I've had GMs say when you draft a Nick Saban guy, what you see is what he is. Now you get Trey Lance or Josh Allen, by the way. He hasn't had the staff. He hasn't had the coaching. The ceiling for a Trey Lance or, a Ben Roethlisberger.
And they haven't played alongside other NFL level or high level talents either.
Good stuff.
Especially for quarterbacks.
Yeah, Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, someone that's played with a lot of talented guys in his career is Kevin Durant. He was recently on a podcast and was asked to pick his top 5 teammates. Kyrie, Harden, Steph, and Clay were quickly named, but his initial choice at 5 was surprising to some people.
I'm going to go Serge Ibaka.
Damn.
I thought somebody else was going to go
Me
into
too.
that
I'm
from
just,
LA.
All right, so
I forgot somebody? Oh, damn, I am tripping. Russ, yeah, I'm tripping.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. You know what I mean? Because it's games like mine.
I did forget about Russ. Russ would definitely be top 5.
Oh, boy.
No, everybody kind of freaked out about this a little bit. It's fine. Like, this is why, when you're doing interviews and you generally want to ask somebody to list something, you tell them ahead of time so they can think about it. So he's just answering. Like, I think everyone's a little too sensitive to everything that Kevin Durant does right now.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't purposely leave Russ off the list because he doesn't like Russ. Obviously, Russ is a better player than Serge Ibaka. No disrespect to Serge Ibaka, but Russell Westbrook is a better player than Serge Ibaka.
Yes.
That's it. Like,
yes.
That's why he immediately was like, I'm tripping.
We do this all the time with, we ask politicians a question and they're ad-libbing. Right. And they don't have a press secretary. They're getting on a helicopter and they say something. And it doesn't matter who the president is. Whoa. And it's like, you got a chopper noise in the background. You got a mask on. You're walking to a helicopter. There's a million things. And somebody shouts, hey, what do you think about that policy? And you're like, well, we'll have to think about it. You can't expect a great answer.
Yeah.
I got a chopper in the background.
I don't know if there's a chopper in the background of this podcast interview, but generally when you ask people to list things, and maybe they did, who knows, but I don't think that it's like anything to overreact to. Obviously, Russell Westbrook is in his top 5.
Yes.
I don't think that they have a problem with each other as far as that goes. So the 76ers are holding on to the top seed in the East.
They are. They play defense.
It's only a few weeks left for the playoffs, but they want to stay on the top. We've talked a lot about where teams are seeded this year and how it really doesn't matter, but for the Sixers, it might matter a little bit. Ben Simmons says he believes the team is more than capable of keeping the 1 seed this season, and Joel Embiid added they feel like they're unbeatable at home, and that's why the 1 seed is so important. They're 22-5 at home, 17-12 away. It's the second best home record this season behind the Jazz. They're fourth in points per game at home, 22nd in points per game on the road, 12th in points allowed at home, 4th in points allowed per game on the road. So they are 2 different teams, home and away, even in a very unique season with not as many fans in the stands. So they have to do a combination of wins and losses by contending teams to keep the number 1 seed over these next 14 games, but it does matter for them. Like for the Lakers, we're talking about look, just stay 5th, 6th, 4th, 5th, 6th seed. You'll be fine. The road situation doesn't matter as much, but for the Sixers, it does.
I watched the entire Sixers-Clippers game on Friday from